Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Now, as you could tell from the thumbnail and the title, this isn't a typical Midlife Stockman episode. But before you click off, give me a chance to explain. Now, as the channel has grown, so has my inbox, and I just haven't been able to keep up. I do my best, but many of your comments and emails go unanswered, and I'm sorry for that. Now, I was a recent guest on a video podcast run by a very good friend of mine. We have a long, rich history together, which you'll hear more of in this episode, and he's one of my very best friends. Now, in this conversation you're about to watch, you're gonna hear how this all started, my hopes and dreams for the channel, even where the name Midlife Stockman comes from, because many of you have asked, and you may just find out something else that's pretty exciting. Now, I know you all, just like me, are itching for more property transformations, but I felt this was the right time to share more of my story with you all. But everyone, you see behind me, there's no snow. Spring is around the corner. The ground has thawed. We are gonna get so much done this year. So many great things are happening. I can't tell you how thankful I am that you all are here with me. This channel has grown to what it is because of you all, and we are making real differences in our communities, and that's what it's all about. Now, if you're still with me, thank you. Check out the description. I got details on all things Midlife Stockman, and there's also some links in there for my buddy's production company, so check that out if you can. So now, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy this personal transformation. It's been really neat to hear people's stories of, hey, I watched your video and then I went out and did this for my neighbor. That's what it's all about, you know? And kindness can be contagious. We can be so quick to judge, but everyone has a story. The more you approach people with that, knowing that, look, you don't know what someone has been through, the more grace you can have.
I've been doing video for 20 plus years. And as I have gotten more into coaching and consulting and encouraging more people to really to show up online to share their gifts with the world, whether that's, you know, they're an inspirational speaker, they have insights on certain things that help bring freedom to people. Whatever those things are, we all experience imposter syndrome.
I think my encouragement would be, if you are passionate about something, that be open, don't be polished. People respond to just human behavior. No one's perfect.
On episode 428 of this podcast, we talk about how my buddy Sean went from shooting weddings as a second shooter to building a YouTube channel with over 600,000 subscribers simply by being authentic and consistent. We also talk about why being yourself is the most powerful strategy for content creation. And also, did you know that people respond to genuine passion, not polish? Also, we talk about how serving others and loving your neighbors can create unexpected growth and meaningful transformation in communities. All that and so much more in today's episode. What is up, my friend? Welcome to the Grow Your Video Business Show. I'm your host, Ryan Coral. Super duper excited that you're here. This is a very, very special guest, and we'll get into that in a second. But if you're brand new here, if you're a video business owner, you're in video production, you're a filmmaker, and you want to grow this thing, you want to scale your business, you actually want to turn your passion of video or filmmaking into a full-time business, then I have something for you. I've put together a free workshop where I've taken my 20 years of running my own video production studio and growing it to 7 figures. I've taken the best things that have helped me along the way. I've taken all of my many failures and some of the things that I've done right and packaged them together in this workshop that I would love for you to get access to. And you can do that by going to studiosherpas.com/10x filmmaker. It's the number 10, the letter X, and the word filmmaker. StudioSherpas.com/10xFilmmaker. We'll link to it below, but I would love for you to get access to that, especially if you're new. That puts you on our email list as well. We've got all sorts of cool things designed to help you in your business. I want you to succeed. I have a video production business, but I believe in abundance, and I know that as I've shared over the last 400 plus episodes of this show on things that I'm doing that are working in this space, things that I've failed at, and then also bringing on a lot of friends that I've known throughout the years, mentors, experts in their own thing. This show is designed to help you. So let me know if there's anything I could do to help you. Without the further ado, let's get into this episode with my dear, dear friend, Sean Stockman. Here we go. What's up, friends? Welcome to this episode, this special edition episode, special limited edition episode.
Yeah, limited for sure. Yeah.
Welcome. This is the Grow Your Video Business show. I'm your host, Ryan Coral. And with me today is the man, the myth, the legend, the legendary Sean Stockman,
yes.
Also known to over 600,000 people as Midlife Stockman.
That's crazy.
We are old college friends, and I went to Sean's wedding. Oh, you came to my wedding.
Yeah, yeah. Were you in my wedding?
No.
We weren't in each other's weddings, but we were there.
Yeah, we were.
But Jim made it to both of our weddings.
Yeah, how did that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
he likes to brag about that.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for doing this. This has been a long time coming.
It has been.
I think this is the right time.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sean and
Ryan was waiting for a certain number of subscribers till he invited me onto the show.
I was like, I just rewind to the year 2004. That was the year that I think Jim got married in 2004. I hadn't shot a wedding. Eric Wolf, I think, shot his wedding, had all these tapes, didn't edit it. Jim was like, hey, do you want to edit this? Because I was getting into, I was doing editing and whatever.
Yeah.
So I edited his wedding video, and I was like, that was pretty fun. And then I ended up leaving the college shortly after that to do video full time. And then in 2005, in May, I shot my first wedding.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I think I edited their video like March, April, something like that. And then I think in May or June, I shot my first wedding with Bennett.
Okay.
He's like, yeah, I got this couple this weekend. So I shot this wedding, and I was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they had a chocolate fountain.
Of course. Well, that was the benefit of all the weddings.
It was the fanciest wedding I had ever been to. It was at the Inn at St. John's.
Okay.
It was in the atrium, the naturally lit, gorgeous. And I was like, I want to make legacy pieces for families. Yeah. And, my dad had passed, I think, 2 years before that. And, Andrew and I were married 2 years before that. And so that we were still on the heels of being newly married, and just that was epic.
Yeah.
And, see what I did there?
Yeah, I see what you did.
And so I said, this is what I want to do. I want to do wedding films. I was doing video full time for about 6 months before I realized this. And then I don't know if it was that year or if it was the next year that I reached out to you and just said, dude, I need help.
Yeah.
Filming these weddings.
Yeah.
Would you be interested in learning how to shoot a camera? And
now, I already knew how to shoot a camera, right? I mean, I grew up with the camera, making little home videos. I mean, they weren't anything.
A Sony PD-170?
No, nothing big like that. Nothing big like that. But yeah, that was, I don't know when we started.
Yeah. It had to, if it wasn't 05, it was definitely 06.
Yeah.
This is 2006. So this is before the internet was invented.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
But we started shooting weddings together.
Yeah.
And then it was, I don't know how many months after that where probably we had shot all these weddings and I was backlogged.
Yeah. Yep.
And I was like, dude, I can't edit all of these weddings. Can you help?
Yeah.
Are you interested? And so just kind of share the story from.
Yeah. So that was when you asked me to help you out. I mean, I had the same feeling I think you had of this is amazing. I'm filming, I'm interacting with people, and then to tell the story after. And you're capturing people's most special day, right?
And you're pounding their chocolate.
And you're eating all their food. I mean, it was amazing. So I was having the time of my life, right? I mean, and we have some pictures to prove. Maybe you can overlay a couple of pictures. I was having the time of my life. And so, yeah, it was just, I remember the conversation that we had as we had a number of weddings under our belt. And I was already in corporate America. So I got married young, started our family young, and ended up with a corporate job in the automotive industry. And I remember, I was making a decent salary, and you were just getting going. And my dream was that we would work together.
That's right.
And that we could do this thing together. And we made a joke of like sliding a piece of paper across the table.
Give me an offer.
Yeah, give me an offer. And it just so happened I maybe a couple kids by now, and it didn't work out where we could go full time together. But it didn't slow us down from work.
Right.
I mean, we still were cranking out weddings left and right. I mean, we were the two-man show for quite some time. And if you didn't know it, Ryan had this huge contraption. What's that thing called?
The glide cam.
The glide cam.
Smooth shooter.
And he would just be out on the dance floor. Oh, guys, the dance moves that I witnessed.
And the singing.
And the singing.
You're
Yeah, because when I got into editing, I would have to there's Ryan singing. I can't use that clip,
Whoa,
But yeah, those are some amazing. I mean, that's where really the storytelling came into play, because I mean, a lot of us can relate to holding a video camera and capturing something, but then actually taking, a pile of tapes that we'd end up with, right, and putting that all together to make sense of the day and to tell a story and to think about, sitting on a couch and watching it and not just have 5 hours of video footage, right? And so I remember telling people, hey, this isn't your Uncle Joe holding his camera in the back and just this one angle. Like, I remember when I did multicam editing, I was like, oh my gosh, you have a camera set up here. I was like, this is incredible. So there was a fire that was lit for me for sure in capturing the day, but then figuring out a way to put it together so people would be interested in it, So Ryan, he gave me little baby steps. Like, at first I was allowed to do doc edits. Right.
Which are like the long. So if your ceremony is 45 minutes long, that was the edit was 45 minutes long. And then the reception.
No time shifting. You had maybe 3 cameras. You're splicing in the audio, very black and white. Right. As I grew, I'm looking at all the cameras. As I grew, I remember being able to do a highlight, and the highlight was where it was at, man.
It was the highlight of the job.
You throw some music, and back in the day, we didn't have copyright, so we were throwing every song in there that we love.
Music, you got presets.
Oh my gosh,
stocking.
But that was where I was really starting to have some fun with it, and I was actually watching other people in their day, felt like I was part of the family. Oh, this is amazing.
Especially weddings that you shot as well.
Yes.
Right. So now you weren't just shooting or editing.
It's an amazing point, because as I was in the editing chair, and when I go back to filming, I was like, okay, I know I'm going to look at this later, and I want to get this type of shot. So that part was like the creative juices that I wasn't getting from my corporate job. Was coming out through this, and it was really, really fun. A lot of hard work. I mean, we worked super hard, and it was giving up our weekends, but it definitely lit a fire in me for sure.
And one of my favorite parts of your story actually led up to when we went to, was it Ocean Prime?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So share that story.
Yeah.
Why did you take Andrew and I?
So Ryan, I was working. It wasn't free. I was getting paid. A decent wage, I'd say. Pretty decent. And so we were young marrieds, and got our first credit card and just forgot that you have to pay the credit cards off, right? You can't just keep swiping it. And again, we're young. And so we accumulated too much debt. And so actually the weddings were a way for me to, I had my income that was supporting my family, but everything I was making with you and the company, I was paying off debt. So we reached our goal, we paid off our debt, and we're like, Ryan,
which was a lot.
I think.
Did you do Africa? Was part of that as well?
Yep. Yeah, we put Africa on a credit card. We had some friends that were missionaries there. So the celebration, as we were watching that tick down. Now, granted, we felt like we earned it, but we also wanted to take you and Andrea out. So we celebrated with a super expensive dinner at Ocean Prime, put on a credit card. But that was such a great moment, because it's for me and Tess, it was something we both worked hard at, because she was with the kids. Either she put them down at night. I always edited after they went to bed. So we sacrificed our time together, but we knew we were after the same goal. And so that was so fun to do together, and have that opportunity to make extra money, and set ourselves up for
Mhm.
being a little bit smarter. But yeah, that was great.
So then fast forward, I don't remember. That was, I'm gonna guess that was maybe 2010 or
Yeah, probably so.
2011.
Yeah.
And then in 2012, we branched out. We created Tell Studios,
Yep.
which is where we're at today, which is a more corporate storytelling. We were making videos for businesses.
Yeah.
I love shooting weddings. It was so fun, but we had 2 kids at the time, and I had been shooting weddings for a
Yeah.
long time,
Yeah.
and I just missed having weekends.
Yeah.
And I knew the kids were going to get older, and I was going to want to spend more time with them, and so it just made sense to create a different kind of company that was maybe more Monday through Friday,
Yeah.
9 to 5 ish, where weekends would be free. And so as we did that, we shot fewer weddings. We had some in 2012 and then 13, 14, but as the years went on, we shot fewer and fewer, which meant that we just did less and less together.
I got fired. Basically, I got fired, everybody.
He was the contractor that.
Well, what
got let
happened?
go.
Let me tell you.
Do you want to talk
let
about
me-
time shifting?
Yeah, let me just mention this. How my brain works is the day starts, the day ends. Ryan is an
It's called
amazing
chronological.
Yeah, Ryan is an amazing storyteller, but my brain didn't work like that. And so I was putting together these highlights like, hey, the bride gets ready, sees the groom,
They kiss.
yeah, all this stuff. And then, Ryan was a very good teacher, but also like, hey, this is crap.
So our just for context, our storytelling developed.
Yes, that's the better way of saying it.
Yes.
Your storytelling developed, mine did not. That's really what happened.
But your editing got so much better, like through time.
100%.
But what we were creating for brides and grooms was night and day different from when you and I started.
Yes.
It was like a music video.
And I would say it's way more engaging what you were creating.
Yeah,
Like you were having overlays of the father talking. And then like when I was watching an example, I'd be like, oh my gosh, right? This isn't just a music video.
Yeah.
Because we were creating music videos.
Just remember, we had one of the last projects you worked on with us. It was just, we tried hard to help you get there.
Yeah.
And it's a different style.
It is a different style.
Takes a different skill set and whatever. But
and it's a testament to our friendship too, because we worked together for a long time. I wasn't cutting it as a story, as that type of storyteller, because honestly, it was beyond me.
Yeah.
And we were able to still stay friends, even though I was deeply hurt.
And in full transparency, I stopped editing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as
you found people that could do it.
As our stuff got better,
yeah.
I started getting out of the scene. So
yeah, that's a good point.
I could probably time shift, but not as good as
but if you look at what we did before and what you were doing, that I was like, clearly this is way better.
Right?
So it wasn't hard for me to be like, I can't really do that.
Oh, so good. So then, like what I've loved about your passion for video and all things, it's been evident, ever since I made like the first video and you saw it and you're just like, dude, this is awesome.
Yeah.
There was definitely a love, which is why I reached out to you, like, as the first person, and be like, hey, do you want to, I know you're interested in this. So we did all that work together, and then there were a bunch of years where we weren't doing anything together. Right. And then something changed for you.
Something changed, yes.
I remember you sharing. So just a quick little side story. When COVID happened, you and I and Jim started using this app called Marco Polo.
Yep.
And we started almost daily just doing a quick check-in, like, hey, how's it going? What are you up to today? Oh, we did this last night, blah, blah, blah. And it was just a way for us to, stay connected, which is funny because through our whole friendship, we never talked that much.
Never. Yeah.
And so almost since COVID, we've had almost daily interaction.
Yes.
Through Marco Polo's video, stories and whatever. Well, you had shared one day about this idea that you had, passing this building. You've got your daughter, private school, whatever.
Yep.
Share the story. What?
Yeah. So, it started with me, as most of us, we'll get into bed and decompress from the day. And so I wasn't a huge scroller on social media stuff. But that particular night was on YouTube Shorts, And the algorithm fed me up some guy who's now a really close friend of mine that was cutting tall grass. And I found myself watching it and relaxed,
Yeah.
enjoying the transformation. And I remember Tessa in the bathroom. She's like, "What is that sound?" Because all you hear is the weed whip,
Lawnmower.
right?
Oh,
Yeah. And she like comes over and looks. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I have no idea, but this is, but I'm loving this." Yeah. So I kept going back to this guy's channel. I looked at him a little bit more, and I was like, "Oh, so interesting. This genre out there of cutting grass. Like, it's really fun to watch." I had already loved lawn maintenance. Like, I already had a mower.
Clearly.
I was outside as much as I could be. We have a little acre of land that we manage, and so I didn't put the idea together until I was taking my kids, one of my son to school and passing a preschool that was abandoned and just completely overgrown by weeds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? How fun would that be just to knock that all down and make that look nice? So I took my phone. I told my wife, I said, "Hey, this is a crazy idea. I'm going to grab a tripod." I think I had like the cheapest of tripods. Like we used to have some nice gear. Cheapest of tripods, no mic, nothing, just my phone. Had a weed whip, had a blower, had a mower. Yeah, those three things is it. And I'm like, "I'm gonna go spend a couple hours at this property." She's like, "Okay, like you're crazy." Whatever. Had the time of my life, right? Filming. And then as I was filming it, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do different angles. Like because I've seen this other guy and it was like kind of a fixed location, but I was filming it with the editing in mind. And so finished it, was happy with the work. Got home and I was like, it was all on my phone. I edited it on my phone. I didn't even have
Would you
Final Cut
use-
Pro anymore. I had CapCut on my phone. Didn't even have Final Cut Pro because I hadn't edited for so long.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna create a YouTube channel. I'll just throw it out there. And within a couple of days, it had 13,000 views. And if you look at it today, I mean, it's night and day to my content now.
Yeah.
But I was like, what the heck? Like 13,000 views. What's going on? And so I'm like, and I just had the time of my life doing this. And the comments were just so kind. And I mean, very, very, it tapped a vein. I was like, wow, I got to be creative in telling a story and showing a transformation for people. I got to go outside and work hard, which I love doing. And I'm getting all of this like affirmation, which feels good, right? I mean, that wasn't the sole, I didn't know that would be part of it. And I did something good for the community because it was such an eyesore. So I was like, what's my next property? And from that moment, it has snowballed, and it has been unbelievable. I could never have imagined that I'd be sitting where I am now with the channel. If it's only been a year and a half. But here's the thing that I'm most proud of. The community that's been created, and even it's an online community, the people that have surrounded themselves or have supported the channel with their subscriptions, their emails, their comments. It's a real community of people that have come together. And the beautiful part that I never expected is the influence that this channel has had on people loving their own neighbors. Because that's what I say all the time on the channel. Like, this channel is all about working hard and loving your neighbor. And that's caught fire with people. And to think I'm a small part of that, of like someone's walking down the street, sees trash, picks it up because they saw that I did that on my channel. I'm like, come on. Like, forget the subscribers, forget the views. The fact that that's doing good in the world outside means so much. And so it's been really neat to hear people's stories of, hey, I watched your video and then I went out and did this for my neighbor. That's what it's all about, and kindness can be contagious. And I have found myself, I'm in areas that are a little bit more run down. And offering and knocking on doors and saying, hey, can I help you out? Can I cut your grass and clean up your property? And the reactions are, what's the catch? Like, why? It's like, well, one, I love it. Two, I want to help you out. And three, I'm providing content for people as well. And the reactions have been amazing. I've only been rejected a couple times, and I don't know if it's through embarrassment or whatever it may be. No one should be embarrassed. Grass grows quick. But I've been out there in the community connecting with people, real conversations. And that movement's been happening in the physical, like in a physical community too, not just an online community. It was really highlighted in my last video that I posted. I probably had 20 people that stopped and knew me.
Yeah.
I watch your stuff. I love it. And humbling. I mean, it's so humbling because, like, if you think about it, I am just cutting grass, but it's so much more than that. And it's been really neat to see the response of the community, and how much they appreciate it.
Yeah.
So full circle though, being out there and doing what I'm doing, I have leaned on my filming and editing skills from the history that we've had.
Mm.
So many of the comments initially were like,
Yeah.
wow, this is so interesting. And if you've seen any of these videos, they can be pretty darn boring. I mean,
Yeah.
people are in it for the sounds,
Right.
and see the before and after. And I'm trying to tell an interesting story. And it's been because of how things started with us, and like what I had already in, like, how do I tell a story? Like, yeah, this is a sidewalk, but it's what's really going on here.
Mhm.
And how can I make it interesting for the viewer?
Mm.
And the audience has really reacted to that, which has been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's been like one of my, like, you talk about your proudest moment, which that was a question. I love how you're just like,
Yeah.
getting
Good.
to
Good. I
these,
can kind of see. Maybe I'm
Oh, get outta
reading
here.
upside down.
to see like what the success that you've had, and to know that I've gotten to play a part in that
Yeah.
is like, dude, like, talk about proud.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel like a proud papa, but
Yeah.
but I do, like, to think that, that was years ago
Years. Yeah.
that we, like, almost 20 years ago that we were doing that together. And to think that, it just is making me think like a lot bigger picture. Like, you never know the seeds that you plant
Yeah.
and the things that you do,
That's-
the things that you say. You never know how that's going to grow
Yep.
over the years, and how it's going to impact or change people. And here we are, like, you're impacting communities, you're inspiring people to
Yeah.
go above and beyond. Like, one of the things that people have commented on your channel is like, you don't, it's because of just the way that you're wired.
Yeah.
If there's a fence that's a little jacked up, you're gonna like fix that
Yeah.
fence. So you're not
Yeah.
just like cutting lawns. You're there to, like, if you see a way that you can help, and that's a skill that you've always had. That's
Yeah.
a thing. Your daughter's cars, like, you're always like, oh, I'm gonna tear apart my dash and like do all this. I'm like, dude, that's gonna take hours. You're like, let's get in there and do the thing.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It's kind of tapped on the skills I've acquired over the years. And that's what's been crazy. Of like, I go out there and I'm having fun.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I look in my tool bag, which isn't like my physical tool bag, but actually like what I'm capable of doing. And over the course of 42 years, midlife Stockman, I've collected certain skills, and you're a part of that. My father-in-law is part of that. My wife is part of that. And I'm able to use those to bless other people now in a way that I never thought I could, which is just really amazing. When you brought up planting seeds, it really is another thing I've thought about. Is some of the comments too, people are like, hey, you cut that grass, well, it's just gonna grow back, right? I have no idea who's behind the door when I knock.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that one act of kindness could do for that person, right? And it's not my job to judge where they're at, or if they're capable or not, or what's going to happen to that property after. I'm planting a seed, but what I would love the channel to grow to, and I'm seeing the potential of this, is grass cutting being how I get in the door. But then what else? What other needs are beyond that? We did that roof for the brother and sister, which was incredible, and you were a part of that. And I would loved us coming back together for that. That was amazing.
So just share that story. Like, this was probably the first major one where you just said, community, this brother, sister that, I just kind of spent some time with.
Yeah.
They need more than what I can do. So share that story.
So I get a lot of emails from fans and subscribers and people that have watched. And this one particular email said, hey, there's a brother and sister that live on my street. They're kind of struggling to make ends meet. Their lawn's a mess. They could really use, it to be cleaned up. So I went and knocked on the door. Was like any other thing that I've done, and said, "Hey, I'd love to cut your grass." There was a moment of confusion from her saying, "Huh?"
Huh?
But yeah, go for it. So as I'm there cutting the grass, obviously I'm looking around at what other things are in need or repair. And they had some massive trees that fell on their roof, had tons of damage to their roof. I went up and cleaned the gutters out. And I'm like, man, like this is just not safe. Um, and so when I finished the property, looking around, yeah, it looked much better, but I just didn't feel good about leaving it as it was, especially for two people that were putting all their effort in.
Yeah.
So I said, and this was a vulnerable time for me too, because I've never asked anything of my viewers.
Yeah.
But I said, guys, you've been with me the past couple days, watching me transform this property, and it looks much better, but more is needed. And I want to raise $20,000 and get them a new roof because their roof is in shambles. To my surprise, 2 days later, we had $40,000 raised on GoFundMe. And I mean, talk about a humble moment.
Yeah.
And I had felt validated in different ways through the channel.
Yeah.
Subscribers and views, that's amazing. But this was a validation that of people actually saying, "No, here's my money. I trust you.
We believe in you.
We believe in you.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting us join you in this cause." And it's like gives me goosebumps to think about because like that's what we want as people. Like how do we better each other? How can we help each other? And here I am with this channel that I never thought I'd be able, like on a platform where I could say, some people need help. Who wants to join in? And then all of a sudden, lots of people join in. And so the story continues. I still got goosebumps, man. The story continues that we raise this money. I find a roofing company, which is Shaner Roofing, been an amazing partner of the channel.
This video is sponsored by.
Yeah. No, they're not. But like they donate the roof, and we bring the community together to do a cleanup day. And Ryan was part of that. And our friends were part of that. And we filmed it. And we used that money to build a bathroom for them. It was unbelievable. And so I remember talking to my wife, and she's like, "Sean, that like I love what you've done with yards, but like if this could be more of what happened." And I felt the same way. I was like, "This is what I want.
Yeah.
I will cut your grass and fix." I love doing that stuff too. But what else can we do? Because there's a community behind me and this channel of wants to do more. And so I feel honored to have that. I feel honored that I can be a conduit to that, because I really feel like, yes, I'm doing the work, but the channel is successful because of everyone that's been behind it, watching it, supporting it. And so I'm honored to, and looking for more opportunities to bless people in those ways, right? Because it's just been amazing.
That was a full circle moment for me.
Yeah.
When you're like, "Hey, would you shoot this?"
Yeah.
Like people are donating this roof, and like you want to shoot the. I'm like, yeah, like to work essentially work for you.
Yeah.
That was a
amazing moment.
That was so cool.
Yeah. I loved.
You really liked bossing me around.
Yeah. But it was really neat as I was editing that video just to see your shots, and I appreciated the effort you put into capturing that day too, because I could tell it was moving for you as well, And so it was just like, again, we were all there because of the channel, but like it was neat to see everyone join together for a good thing, And so you were a huge part of that, and it was a full circle thing for us, right? I mean, that was really great.
That was pretty special. When you first started the channel was growing at like a steady pace.
Yeah.
And then there was something that
there's
changed.
I mean, in the YouTube world, I mean, there isn't a whole lot of drama in yard transformations, right? And so most people appreciate it and welcome it. But there have been a couple instances where people didn't appreciate it. But I was confronted by someone of, "Hey, why are you in my neighborhood?" The city had asked that if I was willing to help, that there was a property that needed some help, and so that interaction was it was a lot. And so the police were involved, and my camera was rolling. And so, it changed the trajectory of the channel. So what happened was that found more eyes. But then the really neat thing is people saw that video, and then it took them to my library that already had a number of videos in there, and they saw that that the channel wasn't about those moments. The channel was about a whole lot more. And I remember the uptick, because YouTube gives you tons of data. I remember the uptick I saw on the rest of my library. So you had all these people that hadn't heard of Midlife Stockman.
Yeah.
This one particular video goes viral. And then it made me actually, again, another piece of validation was the rest of my content grew as well. Like, oh, this is good content. Like the people really enjoyed what they saw prior to that police incident, right? It was a tough moment because it helped the channel, that interaction. And yet behind that interaction, there was obviously, because there was a racial thing happening in that moment. And I knew the gentleman that was approaching me, he had his own story.
Yeah.
I certainly was there for a good reason, but in his neighborhood, it didn't feel comfortable. So I wish that interaction hadn't happened. I wish he felt safe with me being there, and there was a lot more behind the scenes that was happening. Why he approached me like that, but that moment definitely took the channel in a new direction in terms of, again, the viewership.
Yeah.
And with viewership, it comes more exposure. And I remember getting some emails after that of, hey, we want to do a partnership with you, like from brands. And so I still like look at that moment of like, wow, that was really a turning point in the channel. And there's been a lot of growth that has come from that. And thankfully, no other police have been called on me, since then.
What was beautiful when that was all happening, I just remember you're poloing Jim and I, and you're like, dudes, you're not gonna believe what happened. It was like, I'm not sure how I feel about it. Like, it was like really, and it was like it was hard to watch, just because, to your point, like we don't know his story, and but you handled it like a boss. I mean, like, it just like you were just humble, like you were the Sean that we know. And
thank you.
It was nice that you showed up the way that you did to watch the police officer kind of like, just, okay, this is gonna happen. It's gonna be fine. But then to watch your community, the people in the comments come around you and encourage you, from all the different races, and just say like, dude, like, don't sweat it, man. Like, that was just, it was beautiful. And here's what, like, the weirdest part about this whole thing is that, and I know you experienced this, like, there, 99% of these people, and probably more, you don't know. Right? They've followed you, they've encouraged you, they comment, they love what they support, all of that stuff. But you don't know them, like on a deep level or anything. But to feel that support of people coming around you, still, it's real.
And it was a good opportunity for me, because I haven't always chosen love. I mean, I make mistakes all the time.
Yeah, you do.
But thank you. But in that moment, I knew he had a story. And I knew that his life experiences led him to that moment to see me there with a edger and a weed whip, not a threatening, but know that was something for him happened in his past. And so I think it was a good reminder for me that, we can be so quick to judge, but everyone has a story. And the more you approach people with that, knowing that, look, you don't know what someone has been through, the more grace you can have. And so I think that interaction caught me where I was able to look at it like, something's going on here, and something that I don't understand. And I could react in a stronger way, but I really don't know his story. And I know I'm here for good. Like, if I had any question, I'm like, should I be here? Like, no, the city asked, hey, this house has been a wreck. We really would love it cleaned up. So I knew what I was doing was good. But that wasn't the moment to, try to stand my ground. It was like, I try to sympathize as much as I can. But I didn't think about the after I certainly didn't know that was going to take off like it did. But then it's neat to think that someone would see that and say, hey, I can give people more grace. I can be slower to judge and quicker to love. So that was pretty neat. I mean, it was a tough situation, but I think there's been some fruit from it for sure. Someone had said in the comments that I should go back to that street and knock on the door and have a conversation. And it's not a terrible idea. Because again, that would tell me more of his story. And maybe that'll be something we do, but yeah, it was definitely changed things.
Yeah.
Definitely changed things.
So as the channel continued to grow and you're being approached by brands
Yeah.
and all of this stuff, like, I mean, some stuff happens with your corporate
Yeah.
job and
Yeah. So I worked 20 years in corporate America. And I would say we all probably can relate a little bit to imposter syndrome.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm there in corporate America, 20 years, still believing the fact that someone's going to find out I really don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Now, the truth is, I kind of knew what I was doing. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I loved people. I love connecting with people. And so my job was fulfilling in that way. Um, but as I was working, I was also doing this on the weekend on the
Mhm.
channel and being way more fulfilled.
Yeah.
Right. And loving it and never felt like work, which work has always felt like work,
Yeah.
which is fine. That's normal. Right. It's
what it is.
why they call
Yeah.
it work. But then I was asking myself, this is crazy. Like, I love this so much. And I'm starting to see actually some potential of making money. But was nervous,
Yeah.
big time nervous, because I didn't want anyone in my job to know that I was out there doing this and that it would be a threat to my
Right.
my own current job. Well, as the channel grew, that one particular moment, I got so many like emails and phone calls the next day, like, "Hey, I just saw you on. Are you on YouTube? Like, wait, was that you?" And like all of a sudden, my whole company knew, like, "Oh, Sean does something on the weekend,"
Yeah.
which wasn't a bad thing,
Yeah.
but it made me nervous because I'm not a risk taker.
Yeah.
I have a family to support, and that for me, I didn't want anyone to question my loyalty to the company. But then I had to be truthful about my own feelings of like, well, where are my passions right now? And when is the right time to take a risk? And could I possibly do something that I love and still support my family? And so those are questions I was starting to ask, but
Hmm.
still fear was a huge driver of like, no, I'm just going to continue the path, going to continue coming to the office, doing my thing, and we'll see what happens with YouTube. So as you mentioned, brands started to approach me, and there's some money to be made from YouTube in terms of the ad revenue. And my whole goal, as I qualified for earnings on YouTube, was if I could pay for my kids' private school, it's a win.
Yeah.
Like that would be incredible, because we were scraping together our nickels and dimes
Yep.
to get them there. And if
You
I
were
could,
asking me if I had any weddings you could add.
yeah, exactly. And it slowly was making money and realizing, okay, yeah, we're able to send our girls to the school and doesn't feel as tight. And then the question came of like, well, if I put more time and effort into it, what could it grow to? Could I actually do this full time? That was a dream.
Mhm.
And thinking, there's no way. There's no way I could do this full time. I mean, again, 20 years is a long time in the office of going to work, open up your laptop, doing
Yep.
all your thing and sitting behind a desk. And so, as the channel grew, as brands reached out to me, saying, "Hey, we want to partner with you," and two of my biggest ones, not sponsored on the podcast, are Element and Bombas. Those two came to me and loved the content, and wanted to support the channel. And so, between those brand deals and how the channel was growing with YouTube, um, there was a question to be had of like, what do I do? So the beautiful part about this, and it'd be so curious if anyone from my company actually ever watches this, because as the channel was growing, um, my boss and my boss's boss could see something different in me. They didn't know quite what it was, but they knew I wasn't giving 110% at work.
Just reminds me of Office Space.
Yeah.
When Jennifer Aniston, she worked at TGI Fridays.
Yes, yeah.
And she wasn't wearing all the badges.
Oh yeah, the
Like,
flare.
yeah.
Or
Like,
flare,
how many
right?
pieces of flares? She was wearing the minimum.
Yes, yes.
So,
So that is kind of because I'd always put in maximum effort, right?
right.
And then all of a sudden I wasn't. And so, and then that people had found out through the YouTube that I had this YouTube channel. And it was neat because they almost saw the potential of it before I did. Um, so both of them were like, "Hey,
Yeah.
you have something here.
Right.
Like we've seen your videos; they're really good, and you in front of the camera, you could tell you love this.
Yeah.
Like that's great. We love you here. You're doing a good job, but you look like you're really happy doing this." And I'm like, I am, And so it was actually,
Don't
it,
ask too many
it
questions.
couldn't have been a better situation. I felt the support of the company.
Yeah.
They saw something that maybe I didn't even see initially myself until they're like, you should go pursue this. Like, you have 20 years experience. You can always come back to this if you need to.
Yeah.
We really hope you don't have to because this is tough. Like we'd much rather be out, like they were saying, this fills you up, And so I went out and did it on my own. And didn't it was the first time in my life that I was self-employed or unemployed. Um, that was a little bit scary, everybody. It still is. It still is scary. But what was really neat about it was it wasn't a knee-jerk decision. There's a lot of prayer that went into it, a lot of talking with obviously you and Jim and our other friends, and of course my wife, my family. And they just saw that, Sean, you've acquired so many skills, like you were meant to do this. And there's something here.
Right.
And you need to run this down, or if that's what you want to call it. But you need to keep digging into this. And man, is that scary to do. And I'm just not a risk taker. And so I was so encouraged that I had the right people around me to encourage me to do that. And it's been nothing but a blessing since. Yeah, there have been scary times. Sure. I mean, it's winter. There's a foot of snow on the ground outside, and I do lawn maintenance, right? So, well, how does that look? But yeah, I feel like I've always operated within a box, and there's nothing wrong with a box.
Yeah.
I mean, like there was nothing wrong with that life. But now with the channel, my mind's going, and it was funny because when I talked to Ryan on these Marco Polos, Ryan's brain, if you guys know, just he's thinking of so many options, like so many things. Oh, I could do this. I could do this. I have this idea for this. Like it's a beautiful skill, but like I've never had it.
Yeah.
Like I've just been like, no, I go to work, do my work, go home. I don't think anything creative. But now with the channel, as I have this amazing following of incredible people, I have a community that desperately needs help. We all need to step up and help. Of like, where could this really go? Like, could I get people in homes? Could I redo homes and put people that are homeless? And it's like, this has a potential of being something way beyond me. And just to be a tiny part of that is pretty incredible. So not taking anything away from those 20 years, because we were working towards a goal there at corporate. Every company has, they're producing for, they're creating a product for the world. But this felt like something that didn't have a ceiling, and that was another overwhelming thing of it too. It was like, am I the right guy to like brainstorm? Like, I'm just a simple dude. I just love cutting grass. I love talking to people, and I love filming and editing. But like after the roof project, I thought, oh, maybe I do have the skills to like continue this work. What it's about now is, okay, do I, because how do I say this? I'm a terrible delegator. And if my old bosses were here, they would tell me on every performance review, I had a team of 7 or 8 people. You're terrible at delegating. You just do the work. Like you need to delegate. I love my channel because I get to do all the work and tell the stories, do all the editing. But as it grows, as I was mentioning of like, what's the capability? Well, it's going to grow beyond me. It can't just be me doing everything. There's people with way more skills in certain areas than I have. And the question now for the channel is, if I want to reach more people, help more people, who needs to be like, what does that look like? Who else do I need to bring in? And that is, again, something I didn't think I would be thinking about, but like, it can't just be a one-man show. I mean, I'm getting to the point where, hey, I got a family, I got a wife. Going full-time helps incredible amount because I'm not on the weekends, always out there. But I want to take care of what's been growing. I have this this growing channel, and I want to make sure the people that are contributing into it are helping the end cause of helping our neighbors, loving our neighbors. And so bringing more people into that feels risky, you know?
Yeah.
So there's a lot. There's a lot that I always remember you saying, man, I like couldn't fall asleep last night because my brain was just going wild. I'm like, well, I never did that. Like I shut off and I was like at 5 o'clock, I'm like, I don't think about work till 8.
Well, that's what I just, there have been so many times in those conversations where you would say like, man, that's like just so cool that, you know, as an entrepreneur, there's no cap on my salary.
Yeah.
It's just like the sky is the limit.
Yeah.
And you would say stuff like that, and you're just like, but you know, I'm happy, just very thankful for my corporate job, my 9 to 5. And I always wanted more for you. And that's why we talked back in the day. We're sliding the paper out, like, what would it look like to work together? So to see this come as an opportunity for you to get out of that desk and, well, now you're in the closet.
Yeah,
you know,
no, we have a house that has just enough room for my family, and I work out of a closet.
Yeah,
because there's no extra bedroom.
Yeah, so
which I actually highlighted the closet
to a closet.
I actually highlighted the closet in the channel because I did an intro from the closet. I don't think anybody knew it was a closet. Now you do.
But for you to get the freedom, for you to have to have thought that I'll never have that. Today you have it. Your new official job title is it full-time YouTuber? Is that what it's called? Is that?
I don't know. Content creator. My kids say he owns a landscaping business. Yeah, because they're like ashamed. I think I don't know.
they're too easily embarrassed. All the kids, the kids these days.
But yeah, it is still. I filled out a form the other day. I don't know. I think it was at bank.
Gosh.
My daughter, and it said self-employed. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm checking self-employed.
Like I'm checking that. I've been doing video for 20 plus years. Yeah, and as I have gotten more into coaching and consulting and encouraging more people to really to show up online to share their gifts with the world, whether that's, you know, they're an inspirational speaker, they have insights on certain things that help bring freedom to people. Whatever those things are, we all experience imposter syndrome. We look at, you know, success of like Sean from Midlife Stockman. He's got 600,000 subs. Like I've got 6 subscribers. I would never get to that spot.
Yeah, sure.
There's so many voices and things that we hear, that we listen to. You know, in my space, I'm like, gosh, like, why would I ever think that I could show up on YouTube and start teaching people how to create great videos or how to grow a business when there are people that are well beyond the success that I've experienced and way more capable. As I look at the success that you've had, the simplicity that you started with, an iPhone, a free video editing app, and then all of a sudden you got 13,000 views. And granted, you've got this, you know, thousands of hours of editing and experience from years ago that you just kind of have that most people don't, like if they're going to start something like this. But the most important thing, like one of my biggest takeaways that I hope people walk away with after hearing this is you started. You saw something that was inspiring to you. You're like, I think I could do that. And it wasn't like, I remember when you first told us, it wasn't like the idea of subscribers or anything like that. Wasn't even, it was just like, I think I want to do this. I'm going to try this. This could be fun. And actually, like, it's going to scratch an itch that I think I have. So you started, and then you stayed consistent.
That's a big thing.
And you didn't start with the fancy gear. You didn't start with tons of knowledge or taking courses on how to be a successful YouTuber or what to say when
I actually haven't listened to anything. I know you've told me like, hey, there's some great,
you know, what to say if a brand approaches you and like how to navigate any of that stuff. So my encouragement to people is like, it's the thing that you are so passionate about in how you can help people, your gift to the world. The sooner you can get in front of the world and start sharing, the better. The better off the world's going to be. And then the more fulfilled you're going to feel because you're like doing the thing.
100%.
Instead of overthinking it, I'll wait until I get this camera. I'll wait until I, you know, take this course or have this knowledge or feel more confident, whatever that thing is.
Yeah, because people won't respond. What I've realized is people are not going to respond more if your camera's crisper or if your sound is better. What I have found in my experience is people are responding to seeing a genuineness about me.
Yeah.
That I'm not, when I'm out there in front of the camera or doing a property, I'm there because I love it.
Yeah.
And so anyone that wants to start something, put their stuff out there, obviously it's because there's a passion and love behind it. And for me, there's just no faking. I'm goofy out there. I'm myself. I'm having the time of my life.
Yeah.
And it's coming through in my work. And that's what people are responding to. I'm not trying to be someone I'm not.
Yeah.
And so I think for the world, we are constantly given images of people, polished people,
Yeah.
of what you should be, what you shouldn't be. And that influences us for sure. But for whatever reason, and I've been influenced in my day to day with stuff like that. But for whatever reason, for the channel, I'm like, I'm just going to be me. Here's a little secret. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it could resonate with someone. There's probably 12 to 15, maybe 20 of us out here in this genre. I don't watch anyone's content. I don't want to be influenced.
Yeah.
I don't want to change who I am. I don't look at it not supporting the genre, but I look at it as I want to be true to myself. Everything I do out of property, I just want to be, I'm doing it because I think it's the right thing to do. And what I'm saying is because it's me, not because I've heard someone else say it.
Yeah.
And so I think my encouragement would be, if you are passionate about something, that be open, don't be polished. People respond to just human behavior, like just open human, like no one's perfect, right? And so, yeah, I do edit some stuff out in my content because it's weird. I mean, I have fun with this. Like, you get an edger out and I create a line, I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that line. So then I'm like, I'm really doing what I'm supposed to be doing, But I mean, that's the fun of it, of like, people will respond to authenticity.
Yeah.
And to not being polished. And that's something I've loved about what you've done as well, of like, not everything that you put out, like I've seen the podcast before, it's fun. Like, it's not like everything's perfect. There's no cuts. There's like, right, exactly. And so I think my encouragement to anybody would be, your passion will come through.
Yeah.
Yes, there's ways you can hone your editing and make your sound better and make your quality better. But if you really love what you do and really believe in what you do, it's going to come through, and people will see that and respond. There's certain genres that people are more apt for that, like in this particular one. But I think that's the biggest thing that I've seen is like, oh, I can just be myself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to try to be anybody else. And so, still risky though, like, because now that I'm out there, what if people start to not like me? Like the story that you tell yourself, right? But those just are lies that you gotta not believe, right? So
that's why you surround yourself with people that can keep reminding you that, those are just lies.
Those are just lies, right? For sure.
Dude, this is so good. Appreciate all the transparency and
yeah, man.
I mean, the open authenticity. That's like, as you're saying all that, I'm like, yes, those are the things that I just can't stop saying enough. But funny enough, my own story, we shoot all these high-end weddings for all these years, and we had to put out like the most perfect, beautiful products so that we could keep getting hired by high-end luxury, blah, blah, blah. And then when we transitioned to corporate, and then I transitioned it into like creating my own content, I think for the longest time I've struggled with like, no, people don't want like this polished. They just want Ryan to show up as goofy. I mean, we probably need to edit some things out.
Sure.
But the freedom that you can offer to people is in that, what you just said. Show up as you.
Yep.
Don't try to be a YouTuber that you follow. Be inspired by their consistency, their content, whatever.
Yeah.
But show up as you, because the world already has that person.
Yeah.
And their story and their experience and all that stuff. They don't have your story and your nuances and your silly personality or your serious personality, or whatever the things that make you you. And that's what the world wants. Maybe it's not going to be 600,000 subscribers for that person. Maybe it's 1,000.
Yeah, sure.
think about having 1,000 people in a room. This is what Andrew and I were talking about this morning as we were getting ready. If you had 1,000 people in a room listening to the things that you were saying and being encouraged, inspired, it's like,
yeah, it's pretty amazing.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's
1,000 people. I mean, 600,000 is like almost 1 million. And I was telling Andrew, I'm like, yeah, just think about a stadium and you fit like, you can't put 600,000 people in a stadium. That's a lot.
My mom recently sent me, because my mom's my biggest fan, and she recently sent me a text. And at the Super Bowl, I think there was 60,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
She's like, it's hard to believe there's 10 times as many people that are on the channel, and it is humbling. It is humbling,
Certainly.
But yeah, it also is a responsibility, right? Whether it's 1,000 or 600,000, like people have said, hey, when they hit that subscribe button or they watch your video, they're like, I want to hear what you have to say, you know? And that's where people will pick up on your authenticity.
Yeah.
And do you really believe in what you're saying? And so, yeah, it's been neat that I get to be myself, and people have responded, and I get to do this, full time. It's been amazing.
Yeah. Pretty cool gift. Midlife Stockman is the YouTube channel.
Midlife Stockman is the YouTube channel.
And website.
Yeah, there is a website. Yeah, actually, Ryan
calls
me.
I don't know if
you calls me and is like, dude, I'm gonna save you right now. I didn't buy midlifestockman.com.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot.
So Ryan's like, you've got to buy this right now, like the domain. And so you can go to Midlife Stockman too. There's a newsletter there, which, I send out monthly newsletters.
midlifestockman.com.
midlifestockman.com.
He didn't have to get the .co or the .org. He got hooked up with the .com.
Yeah, .com. That was good. No one else had Midlife Stockman, surprising. But yeah, that's the channel. And there's my merch.
Yeah.
No, but it's been so fun. I mean, a lot of questions about the name, and I think I've already explained on here that I'm 42. So instead of a midlife crisis, we're doing Midlife Stockman, right? So, but yeah, it's exciting to see where it could go.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the dream would be that we are making real change. Yeah, we're going to cut grass. I love cutting grass. That's always going to be part of it. But we can make real change in the community, because, it's what it's all about, loving your neighbor. And if there's a little, a movement behind that outside of the channel, that's amazing. So to be a small part of that is pretty cool.
Yeah, love it. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, my man.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, or thanks for doing both, and/or. Again, I hope this episode is helpful for you. If there's any takeaways or just something that stood out, I would love to hear from you. So you could leave a comment in the comment section, or you can email me, Ryan, RYAN, at studiosherpas.com. That's .com. Yes, I do read your messages, and I appreciate you taking that time to just say, hey, this is great. This is helpful. I like this. I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to stop doing this. Anything like that would be really, really appreciated. And if there's anything else I can help you with, don't hesitate to reach out. If you haven't rated this show, take 2 minutes, go to the Spotify or the Apple Podcast page and give the show a rating. It helps with visibility and all the things. That's all I've got for now. Thank you. I hope this was fun for you. It was super fun to have Sean come to the studio for the afternoon. That's it. Have an amazing rest of your week, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya.